What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Charter Podcast brought to you by St. Xavier University. I'm Ruthie Polinsky, back with Clay Harbor. We're switching things up a little bit here, Clay. We're going to start doing the pod on, what is today? We're taping this up the Monday after the game.
Yeah.
You may be watching this on CHSN on Tuesday afternoon. With that being said, I think it's important for everyone to know, I think as the season has progressed and these games just keep getting bigger and bigger, we felt like this part of the week would be a little bit more fun for us to do this. So we're very excited about it, and we are hoping that you are as well. With that being said, Clay Harbor, this is not a Victory Monday that we are taping this. This is a near tie, maybe win Monday. And I think when you look back at this game, there's been so much conversation about what this game, this loss in Green Bay means for this football team. I'm curious, and this is, I think, where we should start. Does this change anything for you when you think about what the Bears' expectations should be this season?
I think for me, the expectations after this game should actually go up. Because the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFC, and I think they're a team that you kind of trust. People trust that can compete with anybody. With Jeff Hafley, you obviously have a veteran coach. You have a 6-year quarterback. They're in their window now. It's Ben Johnson's first year. Caleb Williams' first year in the system, second year. For them to go into Lambeau and to take the Packers all the way to the wire, especially after dropping down 14-3 at halftime, to show that kind of resilience, to bounce back after a tough start in that environment, the full team too, like the defense had their times, obviously could be better. Offense had their times. At the end of the game, obviously you need to start faster. But overall, when I look at this, I think you just played with maybe the best team in the NFC. Obviously you got the Rams there. Who knows? Seahawks are solid. But this is a team that can play with anybody. If you can play with them, take them to the wire in their house, I think you can beat anybody in this conference. So I think this is something that the Bears can use to build confidence, not necessarily be demoralized by a loss, but to say, hey, look what we almost did going into this house, especially with the Kyler Gordon stuff right before halftime. I know we're going to, right before the game, I know we're going to get into that. But overall, I think the vibe should be high. You still got to handle business, but you're 9-4. Ben Johnson's first year as head coach, Caleb's first year in the system. You still got to be really happy with where you are.
You see how volatile the NFC is, right? Because you go from the 1 seed to the 7 seed, and you're a little, you get more nervous if you're a Bears fan than maybe you were 2 days ago, right? About your chances of making the playoffs. And I love what Ben Johnson said after the game. You know, do you believe you're a playoff team? I believe was the gist of the question. And he said, we don't have enough wins yet. We're a playoff team when we win enough games to make the playoffs. And I loved that answer because it's so true. It's so cut and dry. And, you know, I think maybe at the beginning of the year, we thought 10 wins would be a playoff team. Now it sort of feels like you got to win 11 games. So the Bears have to find 2 more over their last 4 games. And, of course, one of them being the Green Bay Packers, who you really put up a nice fight there in their house.
Yeah, and that's got to give you confidence, definitely going back to Soldier Field. And obviously, you don't want to be in a situation coming down to Week 17. You got the Detroit Lions, and this is a must-win game. Win or go in. You got a chance to really solidify yourself in this playoff run.
It's going to be a must-win game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's going to be a must-win game.
There's going to be something on the
line.
Playoff
seedings. Do you want to go play the number 1 team or number 2 team?
Right.
Like, it's definitely going to be a game you want to win.
Or it's for the division, potentially.
For the division, potentially still. Green Bay has a good opportunity to win that. But you never know. They could slip up. They got the Broncos this week, so it's possible. It's all still in front of them. But, you know, my takeaways were just the resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start like they did.
71 yards of offense in the first half.
Caleb was 4-12 passing at halftime. I mean, that's crazy. And then, you know, you go coming out the half the rest of the game, you know, Williams is 13-19, and he does really well. He does some really good things outside the pockets, makes some big-time throws that kind of show you why he was that guy that was taken with that number 1 overall draft pick. I think he even got to be happy with the way Caleb played. I know he started slow. I know he threw the interception at the end, but I think you're still seeing growth. You're seeing the guy he can become. Definitely
some accuracy issues that are still sort of haunting him. I think what we saw yesterday was the special. the sideline throw to Cole Kmet, the sideline throw to Olamide Zaccheaus, the touchdown throw to Olamide Zaccheaus. I mean, there were some plays that were just absolutely, and Ben Johnson said it on the Zoom call today, like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that in my life, plays. And I think that's where you have this sort of frustration when it comes to Caleb Williams, because you do see him making progress and getting better. What you're waiting for is consistency and doing the little things every time, the dink and dunk. It's just still a little hard for him. And we saw that yesterday early on in the game. But Clay, I rewatched the first half today. And if the Bears have they kick the field goal and it's 7-3. If they have a better kickoff, Cairo Santos, remember, the dirty ball didn't go well.
Yeah.
The Packers start at their 40.
Yeah.
The Packers start at their 40, and they need like 2 plays, and then they score a touchdown, I think. And then all of a sudden it's 14-3, and you feel, oh, the Bears are losing by a lot. But really, up until that point, it was tough. And I think, you look at the way that the Bears started the game on defense, the Packers were moving the ball very well. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson comes up with the interception, which I know the Bears weren't able to capitalize on offensively. However, it kept points off the board. And to me, that's just so emblematic of what this season has been for the Chicago Bears and the way that this defense has played. It's just taking the ball away, making sure that the other team loses an opportunity to put points up. So I agree with you. I think the resilience was very special. But with that being said, I know the numbers don't look good, but that first half was very competitive, even regardless of sort of the jarring, off-putting numbers of, 71 yards of offense, 4 of 12, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I think the defense did a good job. They did enough to win. Obviously, in those high leverage situations, you want to see them get a stop, obviously, at the end of the game there. 3rd and 2, when Josh Jacobs breaks that tackle, busts a 21-yard game. When you got guys, you just got to wrap up. Wrap them up, take them down. You're good.
That was killer.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on what you said, great with the turnovers. Obviously, came in the game with 26 takeaways. Now they have 27. They entered the game creating a turnover on 19.8% of opposing teams' possessions into turnovers. That's the best rate in the National Football League, right? And the 3rd best rate of any team of the past decade. That's how good they are creating turnovers. But the problem is when you don't create a turnover, we know those are, hit or miss. You can't really rely on them. They're a little fickle sometimes. There is an art to turning the ball over. The Bears got some really good ball hawks like Kevin Byard. Obviously, Nashawn Wright's been doing some good things, but when you take out the fumbles, the interceptions for all 32 teams, right? You just put the drives that there's no takeaways on. The Bears came in to the season ranked 29th in points per possession allowed, and if you protect the rock against them, you're going to have success. So the Bears, I love the turnovers. I love what they're doing, and obviously they're missing some big time players, but I want to see them get a little more consistent. In having big stops and not just waiting for that big play, that big turnover to get a stop and turn the momentum there.
When it comes to that last play of Caleb Williams, that 4th and 1, game on the line, Ben Johnson said it was pretty much the same play that they ran in Philly for the Cole Kmet touchdown. And Caleb sees Cole. The conversation all day has sort of been, Clay, there were a few options there. Some people thought Caleb maybe should have tucked it and run it. Some people thought DJ Moore was open underneath. Ben Johnson sort of clarified today. I think he felt that Cole was open. That's where it should have gone. And Caleb Williams said after the game, I just needed to do a better job of getting him the football. Ben Johnson also confirmed on ESPN 1000 with Jeff Joniak today that it was highly likely they were going to go for 2 if they scored there, which I also think is the smart decision. The more, we were texting during the game, Clay, and we're like, are they going to go for 2 here and try and win it? And it was a little, you're nervous about that because obviously if you don't get the 2-point conversion, it's a loss. But with that being said, on the road, you weren't going to win it in overtime. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was just the way that Green Bay was moving the football, the way Jordan Love was playing. You didn't feel good about really the way your defense was playing. To milk the clock, give yourself a shot to win it go for two, I think is it's the very Ben Johnson identity of we're going to be aggressive. We're not going to, I believe in this team, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to win it here rather than try and play more football in this cold, in these conditions, the way Green Bay was playing. And yeah, I mean, there's been so much discussion about that final play, Clay. I'm curious on your thoughts and the way they managed the end of the game there.
I like the play call. I'm hearing a lot of people say it was a bad play call. I thought it was a good play call. Get Caleb out on the edge. I think if he doesn't hesitate, he has a chance to run the football and get the yard. But it was a coverage bust. Cole is wide open. There's a linebacker or a defensive back, from the backside rushing to cover that play. Mm-hmm. Caleb's just got to throw a good ball there. And I'm not saying that this loss is on Caleb. I'm just saying good read, good play call, poor execution. That's exactly when you watch it back where you should go with the ball. He should have got it up. If you saw it earlier, get it up earlier, let Cole run under it, just get a little more air on it, get it out there a little bit quicker. Don't mind it at all. Think he made the right play call.
Yeah.
And the way Ben Johnson handled that end of game situation, I think that was just confidence in his offense and his team that he's going to go down there. Some people, let's move fast. No, they were quick, but they were put together, making sure they had the timeouts there, leaving the Packers no time in the clock. And I don't think you necessarily had to go for two. Ben said highly likely goes for two there, but because the second half, the Bears really did pick up the game. I felt like momentum, obviously the Packers had just scored, but the Bears were doing their thing too, like in that second half. But I really like what Ben did there. I think I like the decision Caleb made. I think the problem was the fact that he was just didn't execute, and he was just off on the throw.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I was, there's been some conversation about game management today, and should they have had more urgency when they got the ball with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. I actually found it interesting that Matt LaFleur wasn't calling timeouts to give his team more time if they were going to need more time, right? Because if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm sitting there thinking, oh boy, knowing Ben Johnson and knowing how aggressive he's been all year, they're going to try and go for two. I'm going to need some time to get in field goal range. So I was sort of surprised that Green Bay wasn't using their timeouts to save some time on the clock. So if anyone wants to criticize game management, I think you look at the other side of this thing.
Game management was a definite plus. Love the end of the game drive there. I mean, it was perfect. Yeah. Everything you wanted.
And that's what Ben said today.
And they executed. They executed everything down to the point to where they turned over the ball. This is a little nugget I thought was interesting, and this goes back to me talking about they got to start faster. And early in the year it was, man, they're really good at these first 15 plays, but the rest of the game, what are they doing? Yeah. Chicago's first 3 drives of the game produced a total of 5 net yards. The Bears managed just 1 possession with more than 1 first down in the first half. In the second half, 15 first downs across their 4 drives after the break. So great job. I know Ben said he didn't adjust the game plan at all, but just great job of the players adjusting to the speed of the game, to the guys they're going against, to what Green Bay was doing against them, and finding some plays that worked. If that game goes another quarter, I think the Bears win. And that's another reason why I think you could take a lot out of it. It's like sometimes you're watching a fight. If you're a boxer and you see these guys going neck and neck, maybe a guy won the few earlier rounds, but the fighter that ends the fight with the momentum, it's like, man, this guy could have won if it just went one more round. So usually those guys have the momentum going into the next fight, and they'll win that. That's what I feel about this Bears game. You can take momentum from one game to the next, and the way they finished that second half against a really good Jeff Hafley defense and the way they adjusted, I think will bode well for them moving forward, going against another really good defense, a team that actually beat the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, it's so interesting you say that, because I look at this loss, and I know there are no moral victories. I know Ben Johnson has no moral victories. I know you're not a moral victory guy.
No.
And I'm not a moral victory gal. However, it feels like a nice loss. And I don't mean that in like, oh, we played hard and we did really good in some areas. I mean, it's sort of a like come back down to earth. We went on the road. We were very competitive against one of the best teams in football. And now we can sort of take a deeper look. You know, you always say this, Clay. It's really easy to watch the corrections and make corrections after a win. you really got to look deep after a loss. And so it just sort of feels like it's another moment where last week, you're the number 1 seed and you feel like you've arrived and you're surprising everyone and there's all these great things happening and the culture's changed and blah, blah, blah. Now you kind of sit there and you say, oh, we're the 7 seed. We got to lock in. We can't overlook anybody. And we also played really hard and we did a lot of really good things that we can carry into the next 4 games. And it just sort of feels like one of those moments where it's like, okay, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And they weren't supposed to be. They were 7-point underdogs for a reason.
And you're missing Roman Dunze. You felt him missing a little bit. And I know he's had some ups and downs, but I feel like you could feel that a little bit at the start of the game. Obviously, Tremaine Edmonds is out. Tyreek Stevenson's out. And I'm not making excuses here, but then Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
When your player, one of your leaders, made him at one point this year, the highest paid slot defender in NFL history, goes down in pregame warmups. This is after the inactive list is even out. So now you're short a player. You can't sign a player to the active roster and put a guy active and make him inactive. You're short a player. And where did the Packers attack, and especially early, but the whole game, which is smart. If Kyler Gordon's out, you want to attack his backup. And I know I like C.D. Gardner-Johnson, and you even got some safeties down there. Kevin Byard playing the slot a little bit. Jordan Love was 7 of 7 for 150 yards in all 3 of his touchdowns, throwing to receivers operating out of the slot, nearly doubling his output to throws to receivers that were split out or starting in the backfield. Kyler Gordon's in the game. You're not going to have that much success targeting the slot because he is that type of player. That's why he's that high paid. So that's a huge loss. And I don't know if he'll be ready. Probably won't be ready for the next game, but now you'll have a plan going forward. When you game plan a week, Ruthie, knowing that you're going to have a player like him and then he's out before the game starts.
I'm glad you said that.
Difficult.
It feels to me like it's very discouraging that this is a player who got paid this offseason and has been anything but reliable all year. And that's frustrating. And I think Ben Johnson said it perfectly today in his Zoom conference. He said, it's disappointing. I wish I had a better feel for the individual, but with him being out as much as he is, I haven't gotten to see him on the field and I don't get to know him. I haven't gotten to know him as much as I'd like to. Obviously, he acknowledged that one soft tissue can often lead to another. But this is someone who's missed a lot of time, who's highly paid, and I just don't think you can depend on him moving forward. And that's very disappointing for, I'm sure, someone like Ryan Poles, who rewarded him this offseason with a big contract. So that's disappointing. You almost wonder, Clay, like, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. We'll talk about that off camera. I just wonder if he maybe should have tried to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean,
because
it depends.
you're in the game plan. I don't know, and what do I know about injuries? I shouldn't even go there.
But Dennis Allen, to his respect, you remember him talking about Kyler Gordon when he got here, the guy you could do so much with. You know his game plan. He had a good game last week. He showed that now you're going to up his plays, and he probably had a huge part of his game plan for blitzes, run game, nickel, set up for Kyler, and then the guy can't play in pregame. You've been practicing this all week, certain plays. You can't just switch that off because your player's gone. Now you're putting somebody else in this position. You're going to stick to your game plan.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not accentuating something that they are good at doing.
Yeah.
Not as good as, say, a guy like Kyler Gordon is at doing. So that puts you in a big hole before the game even starts.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Let's look ahead here. Let's take a look around at the playoff picture. And I know it's hard to see the team go from the number 1 seed to the number 7 seed, but it just shows you how close everything is right there, not only in the division, but in the conference. As of right now, kudos to our producers and digital content creators who helped us with some of these notes. The Bears currently have a 63% chance to make the playoffs. That's not as high as
for a 9-4 team.
For a 9-4 team, the Bears control their own destiny. If they win out, right, they win the NFC North. Great when you don't know who there's on their schedule because it's a tough schedule. The good news, 3 of their last 4 games are played at Soldier Field at home. That's huge. Huge. And I know there are some people that are maybe sitting there saying, "Oh, they're 1-3 in the division right now. They've only beaten the Minnesota Vikings." Yeah, but you still get to play the Packers and the Lions at home.
Yeah.
You like being 1-3 when you still get those two teams at home in December when you're playing your best football. 3 of your last 4 games are against NFC playoff contenders.
Yeah.
And a Bears win next week against the Browns, coupled with a Packers loss. Are they at Denver next week?
They're at Denver, yeah.
They're
the Packers.
at Denver next week. They have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
We could get into that. That puts the Bears back in first place. So you're in the 7th seed, but you're not far away back from that 1 seed. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe that means first in the NFC North.
Yeah, and that's why
It probably depends on Rams and all that stuff as well.
Look at every sport that has a series, right? Like a 7-game series, 5-game series. You have to protect home court.
Yeah.
The games that you're away, you're at home. You know, you want to win the home games. You're supposed to. That's what you got to do. You got to protect your home court. So the Bears, I think, are fine. Obviously, they wanted to go out there and get a win and get ahead of the 8 ball. But they still have these teams come into Chicago. Detroit doesn't like to play outside this late in the winter. They're a dome team.
Yeah.
They don't like those games. And obviously, the Packers are an outdoor team too. But crowd noise, everything. When you get to Soldier Field, it's a big difference. This isn't time to panic. I think this Browns team is starting to look a little better. And you take it one game at a time. And I know we're talking a little bit of playoffs here because, hey, we're getting down to that part of the season. That's what you do. Even the players, as much as they're going to say, we're just looking at the Browns. Yeah, you're looking at the playoff picture. I've been there before.
Well, you know what's interesting, Clay, is this feels like every game feels like a playoff game now.
Yeah.
This Browns game, it feels like a playoff game. You cannot lose this Browns game. Can't do it. So this is a Browns team that is simmering with drama.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll get into, if we want to get an early look at them, I don't know how much you've sort of dove into those numbers yet or watched their game, the Browns, which was an interesting one.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Shedeur Sanders saga rolls along. You're taking him off the field for 2-point conversions. Myles Garrett is sort of just playing for sacks. And guess what? Hold on a second. Let's rewind. Can we talk about that? Micah Parsons obviously was a factor in the game, but Caleb Williams was only sacked once.
Yeah,
and a lot of that has to do with his elusiveness and escapability. So kudos to him. But the offensive line did a pretty nice job, all things considered.
Yeah, you know, this one's tough for me. Parsons didn't have a sack, but he had 8 pressures, had a 26.7%
How many pressures
pressure
equals
rate.
a sack?
Exactly, according to Next Gen Stats. And this is because Caleb is so good at getting the ball out of his hand. But I think when you go back and you look at the game plan, great game plan by Ben Johnson, not letting Micah Parsons take over the game. And you could see, even Micah, if you listen to some of his post-game comments, I got some of them here. Yeah. I'll find them in a second. But he said, we've never seen them play like that. They completely changed their game plan. And here's a couple numbers, Ruthie. You know I like my numbers, right? This is one of the heaviest boot and game play action, words are hard, plans that this offense has had, right? The Bears typically use play action around 33% of their dropbacks, which is one of the highest rates in the league. On Sunday, that jumped to 60%, the highest rate for any quarterback in a single game all season, and the 8th highest rate in a single game over the past 10 years, the past decade. That's how much play action the Bears ran, to run these different blockers at Micah Parsons, to make him sell run, to block run first before he starts his pass rush. So Ben did an excellent job of changing up the game plan. Obviously, you play him again in 13 days, see if he does that again. Maybe he does some more typical dropbacks. And Caleb did really well on the play action passes, right? He did a really good job moving the pocket around. Caleb went 14 of 22 with 2 touchdowns in play action. He was just 5 of 13 for 42 yards as a drop back passer. So where can he improve? He can improve on your typical drop back stuff. So that's the number one thing. And obviously it's a little bit more difficult when you got the pass rush coming at you. But Caleb, for a guy, another reason I think Caleb showed me something this game. One of the things was this guy had never done play action passes before. and now you're seeing him become really effective at this play action game. And something we've known that he can do is the drop back stuff. So I think you clean that up, and you really got yourself a player.
Yeah, Kayla Williams is our Wired In segment. So you like that?
Yeah.
We're doing this segment called Wired In.
Yeah.
And where we lock in on Caleb and his performance.
Yep.
And, we've talked about some of it, of course. Micah never got to him, or I guess never brought him to the ground.
Yeah.
We talked about those unreal throws that he had that were just wow plays that there are very few quarterbacks in the National Football League that can make those throws. You want him to make more of the throws that every quarterback can make.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's this conundrum that we're living in. That final play, it does feel like we've gotten some clarity on what it was, whether or not we liked the call, whether or not he made the right read. I think that's, exactly what, we heard from Ben Johnson today. Cole was open. And that was the decision. Just needed to get to him a little bit earlier. And Micah Parsons, after the game, you know what he said, Clay, to Stacey Dales of NFL Network? He goes, she's like, what's it like chasing around Caleb Williams? He goes, it's mad annoying.
That's real.
It's mad annoying. He goes, I'm going to get him, though. I'm going to get him. So we'll see, Micah. We'll see. But I promise you, people in Chicago respect you and respect your play. I can promise you they do.
Absolutely. Everybody respects Micah. Yeah. And just for my part of this Wired In segment, Caleb, rough first half, right? Wasn't great, but after halftime, once again, 13 to 21, 154 yards, 7.3 yards per attempt. I thought he came back strong. And it's not me saying that he figured out this defense and it's going to look like this going forward, but that's a stepping stone. If you have a really good first half and then they just stifle you in the second half, it's a different feeling. I've been in those locker rooms. We're ending the game and we're like, man, we started out so hot, but we couldn't finish because, they figured something out where they could attack us. The Bears didn't do that. It was the opposite. They came back strong. They didn't. You go into halftime. I've been on bad teams, Ruthie. I played with the Jaguars for 3 years. The old Bears, you go into halftime down 14-3, away, Green Bay, tough place to play. Mail it in. Start packing your bags. Throw your stuff. So throw some of your stuff in your bag so when you get back and the bus is ready, you can get out of there. No, not this Bears team. Showed some resilience, a lot of fight, and that's what you need going forward, especially coming into January, these late games. I think that you're going to see some close games, and the Bears have shown that no matter who the opponent is, that you can come back from that. And I think even me, you, David, were texting when they got the ball after the Packers scored. I know I was thinking, okay, Caleb's going to go down the field and they're going to score. 100%. And that's not a feeling you've had in Chicago in a long time.
100%. You're absolutely right. And even the Packers players after the game were talking about the different feel of this Bears team and how you can tell that they just are playing in a way where they believe in themselves and they believe that they can win football games. And that's very interesting to hear from the opponent and from your rival. Let's talk about what's trending. Okay?
Yeah.
By the way, our Wired segment, do you understand what that's in reference to?
Yeah, it's why Caleb Williams loves
the wired headphones.
Do you know why he's wearing wired headphones?
Well, first of all, they're better.
Yeah.
They're just better. I don't know but why? Do you know?
So there's this big thing in like the fitness, health and wellness, longevity community that the Bluetooth wavelengths that they have tested people with putting, your brain is literally through these Bluetooth waves, radio waves. These are actual waves that you're sending through your brain. And some people say, and I don't know if this is proven yet, but there's this big community of people that don't wear Bluetooth headphones because it hasn't been around long enough to really be tested. So I know I'm on a little tangent here, but that's why a lot of these NFL players, you see Aaron Rodgers, a lot of these guys go around in wired headphones. I used to use wired headphones at the gym, but they always break.
I actually noticed that Colson Loveland also has been wearing the wired.
These guys can afford the Bluetooth. They choose not to do it just because.
But also it looks cool, so sorry.
It does. I like it. A little retro.
Also, for anyone, I also think the microphone, on those wired headphones.
Yeah.
I think it sounds better. If you're talking on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's talking on the phone, but I just think that microphone, you know how influencers will hold it up to their mouth.
Yeah, you hold the mic. You got a good mic. Absolutely.
Anyways, our digital content people will appreciate that as well.
Let me give you the I thought this was interesting, Ruth, and I just want to throw it out there. I know we're moving on from Micah Parsons, but this is what he said. This was his quote from after the game. He said, I expected a lot more drop back game, but no drop back. Parsons said, a lot of boots and a lot of sifts, which is just guys sifting across the line to try to block him. They just really tried to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible and as much as possible. So I think we earned a lot of respect, but we've just got to adjust the next time we see him, understand how they're going to play us. So yes, Micah Parsons and the defense was aware that this game plan, they're watching this tape, wasn't what they're typically seeing. And I think obviously when you got guys of his caliber and this defense's caliber, that you're going to have to do a good job of really making some changes there. And once again, in Chicago in the past, I don't think you have a guy that can come in and create a game plan like that specifically to attack an opponent where they're weak and to guard against where they're strong. And the best offensive coordinators that I've been a part of are the guys that can do that. Make it simple for your team. Seem easy, seem simple, but realistically, you are changing the game plan. It looks a lot out of sort for the defense, something they haven't seen before.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's go to what's trending officially after you or whatever.
Sorry for the little tangent.
No, that's okay. I want to go to my favorite one here on this list.
Yeah.
We'll start here. Remember all those people that are like, oh, the Bears should have drafted Tyler Warren. He's so much better than Colson Loveland. Since week 9, Colson Loveland has outproduced Tyler Warren by more than 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Do you remember hearing all that noise from Colts?
I have my Michigan soft spot for Colson Loveland. However, he's a great player. He has been maybe, like, you could make the argument, Clay, that he's been one of the most consistent and dependable receivers, pass catchers for the Bears as of late.
Not just pass catchers, not just receivers.
Offensive players.
Players.
Right.
What they're asking him to do. This kid's 21. He had his first beer a few months back when he turned 21. You look at this, I always like to look at where the alignments are, and obviously I see it during the game, but I don't put numbers to it. But he's lining up outside. He's lining up in the slot. He's motioning. Ruthie, these playbooks, like these things are thick.
Yeah.
Like, and for you to be able to handle all that as a rookie, these run games, like when you're motioning him and getting him, this isn't easy to pick up, all these different shifts. And he's done such a great job of that. He's really good in the blocking game as a run blocker. He's a top 10 since the bye week, tight end run blocker to go along with how good he is as a receiver. He's a big receiver. He's got unreal hands. He's only 21. He's only getting better. This guy, I mean, I don't want to get carried away here, knock on wood. If he stays healthy, he will be the best tight end in the NFL at one point in his career. I feel confident in saying that.
Wow, I love that. Very cool reaction on the play where Theo Benedette came in motion. Ben Johnson confirmed the ball was supposed to go to Theo Benedette. However, he was chop blocked illegally.
Great play by Caleb.
Caleb ended up finding Colson Loveland, who was wide open. And my favorite part of that play, Clay, is the reaction from Cole Kmet. I don't know if anyone else caught on to this, but the first guy there to celebrate with Colson Loveland was Cole Kmet.
Wasn't Durham Smythe too?
Durham was also in the mix.
Yeah.
That tight end room, I think, is
close-knit group.
Can I say adorable?
Tight end rooms are always the best.
They're just the best.
They're the best guys on the team.
They're the best human beings on the planet Earth.
Yeah, best looking. They can do everything. No, I'm sorry. I'm just former tight end over here. But
talk your stuff.
But no, it's a great room, and Cole showed up big too, and I love what I see from that room.
Yeah, they've just been so consistent. Those guys, which has been awesome. I want to get to the DJ Moore. This is part of what's trending. Yeah, let's talk about this because Ben Johnson, DJ Moore had one catch for -4 yards. Can't happen, Clay.
This isn't a one-off game either.
Can't happen.
But continue, then I got some numbers for you.
Absolutely. Can't happen. I think it's important for everyone to know that Ben Johnson essentially told us today that he felt like, especially with Rome out, that DJ Moore should have been the featured receiver in this game. And he said it wasn't anything that DJ did. He got open. He said he was going to be watching the film with Caleb later today. So there's something to the fact that DJ's getting open and Caleb isn't seeing it. And I know you'll watch the All-22 over the course of the week, but I think it's important to note that that's not intentional from Ben Johnson by any means.
Yeah. And you look early in the game, there was that ball where he threw late over the middle that just sailed. DJ was open. That would have been like a 30-plus yard play, and that was just, I mean, he would need a rocket,
so off.
To catch that one.
Yeah.
And DJ Moore is the Bears' highest offensive player. This guy's a playmaker, multiple 1,000-yard seasons. We've seen what he can do in Chicago with Justin Fields. He had 1,500 yards that year. Obviously, last year, a little bit under 1,000. But in 4 of his last 5 games, here's the stat line.
Oh, boy.
1 catch for -4, 2 catches for 17, 1 catch for 18, 0 catches for 0 in 4 of his last 5 games. So you got to make, I don't know what you're going to got to do here, but with Rome Odunze out, DJ's got to be a bigger part of this offense. And I love what I saw from Luther Burden, and know we're going to get to him and some of the stuff he's done. But DJ Moore, highest offensive player on the Bears. You need to get him the ball. He's a playmaker. You got to figure that out.
Absolutely. Not a question. And you could tell that he was upset at the end of the game. And I think maybe he felt like he would have been an option in that final play.
Yeah.
I know, Ben Johnson kind of saying today that it would have been a tough throw for Caleb to make there.
Yeah.
But you wonder maybe if there were some just miscues, that have been going on all game that sort of built up for DJ Moore there at the end. Let's talk about Luther Burden, also part of what's trending, who every game, just continues to make plays, Clay.
27 yards after the catch. Those after the catch yards are huge, especially in this offense that Ben Johnson runs. And the thing that impressed me the most, 4 catches for over 60 yards too, is the fact that this guy predominantly was a slot receiver, right? Like he came in the league as a slot receiver. Most of his plays this year, he's a guy that's shown he's versatile, so they're using him elsewhere, are from the slot though. This week with Rome out, 65% of his snaps were from outside receivers. So this guy's showing he can be a full service receiver. He can do everything that you need him to do. And 6 targets, 4 catches, 67 yards, 17.8 yards, 16.8 yards per catch. He's becoming a weapon. He's an explosive guy. He got a handoff in there for 15 yards. Bless you, Ruthie.
Sorry.
And you're going to see more of him in Colson Loveland. I think that next year at this time, the Bears' 2 best weapons are going to be Luther Burden and Colson Loveland.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Love it. All right.
Defense.
What do you got?
I want to talk about a couple things, but I think the blitz, obviously, we already talked about how the Bears struggled, in defensively.
Yeah.
And
TJ Edwards back. Jalen Johnson still not 100%. You can kind of tell, right?
TJ wasn't 100%, and against the blitz, they just weren't good enough. They gave up a ton of yards, 150 passer rating. Jordan Love was 8 of 11 for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks against the blitz. The blitz just wasn't getting home. Your pass rush wasn't getting home. I know they got the 1 sack. That was the only quarterback hit they got all day, but that was kind of like a coverage sack. Montez Sweat sacked him, but I think it was like 4 or 5 seconds after the play. Good job by Sweat taking him down. But you got to see more pressure. And hopefully you can do that with 4 guys because Jordan Love, when you really start to see him make mistakes, is from these teams that can get pressure on him, especially if you're not blitzing. So he struggles against that front 4 blitz front floor pressure when you don't have a blitz. You don't know when this blitz is coming. Where you're supposed to go with the ball. This is a hot route in this blitz. This is a hot route in this blitz. This is a read on this blitz. If there's no blitz and they're playing coverage and you're still allowed to get pressure, able to get pressure, throws a quarterback off. Some guys can handle it better than others, and Jordan Love isn't great at that. So if they want to be able to consistently moving forward to beat this guy, they got to get better at getting pressure on the quarterback.
Absolutely. I think that's sort of been the theme all year.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. Listen, the blitz has worked for Dennis Allen.
Yeah. Last week it worked. Against the Eagles, they really threw Jalen Hurts off.
But you want to be able to get home with your front 4, and they're just really, they've not been able to do that.
Yeah, the front 4 is
That's something that needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, obviously it wasn't, even before Dayo Odengbo was hurt, it wasn't really clicking.
Yeah.
Things weren't working.
Yeah.
So, Clay, I just was looking here. The Packers and Lions, just to kind of bring this thing full circle here. So let me know how we're doing on time. The Packers finished the season like this. On the road at Denver. Tough place to play.
Yeah.
Good team. Then they come to Chicago. Saturday, 7:20 p.m., December 20th. Then they have to play the Ravens. That's a home game for the Packers. And then they finish the season in Minnesota against the Vikings, who played well yesterday.
Yeah, and
JJ
that
McCarthy.
defense is always going to, I don't care what JJ McCarthy's doing, that defense is always going to cause some problems.
Okay, I want to read you the Rams schedule.
Yeah.
Not much easier. The Lions go to the Rams, visit the Rams. Did I say Lions? I said, this is the Lions schedule.
Yeah.
Did I say that? I don't know what I said.
Yeah, Lions schedule.
Okay, this is the Lions schedule. Next week, this week, they're at the Rams.
Ooh, let's go Rams.
Steelers at Detroit
Big win
the following
for the Steelers
week.
last week.
Big win for the Steelers. They looked good. Did you see Mike Tomlin blow a kiss into the camera? It was unbelievable.
No, he didn't.
It was unbelievable. Everyone's like, he's like, mwah, love you all. Lions then go to Minnesota on Christmas. That's
we
a
need
Christmas Day
Minnesota
game.
to pull off a couple of these upsets,
And
man.
like, honestly, that should be the goal for Kevin O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
In Minnesota, you got to just end the season on a high note with JJ McCarthy trending in the right direction. That's the goal. Keep him healthy. Then the Lions finish the season in Chicago. I actually can't believe there are only 4 weeks left. I'm having this like nervous energy of like, how did this energy
4 weeks of the regular season, Ruthie.
4 weeks of the regular season,
Yeah,
but like, how did this season fly?
It's been a fun season, but
It's
it did
been a
fly
fun
by.
season. Time flies when you're having
Yeah.
fun. You know what they say? So anyway, my point being here is like, this is going to be tough for everyone in this division. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to even say who has the toughest schedule of the Bears, Packers, and Lions. Like, those are all three teams have really tough final four games. The thing about, there are no cupcakes in there for the Lions or the Packers. This week should be a cupcake for the Bears. Also, Clay, one thing I was thinking about while you were speaking, a tie yesterday in Green Bay would have helped the Bears.
How funny would that have been?
How funny would that have been? So it's like, should Ben Johnson have played for the tie? Is that what people are talking about when they're talking about these game management issues?
Well,
I'm kidding. You can't play for a tie. You can't play for a tie. That's ridiculous.
And they didn't get to the touchdown.
No, I know.
The game management, in my opinion, was get the touchdown
Totally
with no time on the clock.
No, I know. I'm teasing.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This was like this. I'm sorry. I'm going to use a quote from Greg Olson that David Haw didn't like. This isn't debatable. This is great. This is great clock management.
Agreed.
You're down. You have a touchdown. Colt Kmet's open. Even if you just get the first down, you have your timeouts. You're in a perfect position to score. You're going to get 3-4 downs. You have time to do that.
Yeah.
And give them no time on the clock. You couldn't have played it better.
Yeah. Good day for the guys upstairs.
Yeah.
Great
Good game for the
great
good challenge. Yeah.
Good challenge.
Yeah. Great challenge.
Great challenge.
Loved it.
Yeah, we love that.
Let me say something about this Browns team real fast,
Okay.
Ruthie.
And then we'll wrap.
Yeah, I know that people are kind of looking at them as this is an easy win. Their quarterback situation has been shaky, but this defense is top 10, and you were playing against, you thought Micah Parsons was good? The only guy in the NFL at edge rusher that I think is good, I watch him as a tight end, that is better than Micah Parsons is Myles Garrett. He is an absolute freak. Right? The stuff he can do, the power, the speed, the long arm, a spin, he can shake you. He is going to be a threat. And then let's look at our boy Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is the first Browns quarterback with 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing TD in the same game since 1950, Ruthie.
You're talking about this weekend?
This weekend. Shedeur Sanders this week.
The Titans are horrific.
Horrific. But still, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns,
Just
190.
making sure we're all on the same
and
page.
a 97.7 rating. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is God's gift.
Okay.
I'm saying he's going to be going in there with confidence.
Sure.
And I think, obviously, Dennis Allen, when you face a young quarterback, is a guy that will be able to create some situations. This isn't Jordan Love, 6th year. He's seen a lot of stuff, can play in his ability to just kind of be moving backwards and still deliver the ball on point is tough to stop. But the Bears got to bring it. I think, obviously, I'm not going to win in my pick. I'll tell you the points later. Obviously, I'm picking the Bears. I think they win this game. I think the run game gets back on track. We thought this run game, one more thing. I keep saying one more thing, Ruthie. We thought this run game was bad, right? Like it seemed like the run game just wasn't hitting, but they still had over 120 rushing yards from the running backs. I mean, they did a decent job. They just had no carries over 9 yards. 27 carries, 120 yards. When that feels like a bad game for your running team, that's when you know you're doing something good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Browns offense can be explosive. Judy had a 60-yard TD pass.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders, 7-yard run. He's explosive. He can run. So this will be interesting going up against the Browns. You got to win and you got to dominate. I understand that Myles Garrett is elite and one of the greatest players maybe of all time. But this man is playing the game to get as many sacks as he can, right? Yeah. Like that, it's pretty clear. And Caleb Williams has been absolutely elite. Yeah. I think I can't wait. We'll dive into this on the Big Pro Football Show all week long. I can't wait to see what the over-under is on Shedeur Sanders interceptions.
Yeah.
Against this Bears defense. I mean, it's just, you have to imagine that's going to be a problem.
They got to confuse them. Dennis Allen does a good job of that. They're coverage guys. I mean, they're ball hawks. And the Bears, they do take away the ball, but they also have 46 pass plays of 20+, third most in the league, 11 touchdowns of 20+, the most in the league. It's kind of a boomer bust defense, but I think against the Browns, this will be boom, very big boom, especially against Shedeur Sanders.
That's your very early preview of Bears at Browns. It's great stuff, Clay Harbor. Listen, I think it's a cheery Monday after a loss because everything's still in front of them. You went into the season, or you went into this week saying you got to win one of two against Green Bay.
Yeah,
you know that game in 2 weeks is going to be a must win if you want to even think about the division. So there you have it. We're going to talk about this all week long on the Big Pro Football Show, 5:30, Chicago Sports Network. Clay Harbor, Ruthie Polinsky. We got David Haw. We are going to have a blast these last 4 weeks and hopefully many more.
Yeah.
Hopefully all the way into February.
Yeah.
No, we're not getting ahead of ourselves here. But everything's still in front of this team. It's going to be a blast. 5:30, Big Pro Football Show, weekdays, Chicago Sports Network. He's Clay Harbor. I'm Ruthie Polinsky. This is the Charter Podcast brought to you by St. Xavier University. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on TV.